What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Down to the Wire. I'm your host, Brian Costa. And today, guys, we have a great episode in store for you. We have a ton of things to talk about, from the NBA to the NFL. So many storylines broke over this weekend, and we are here to give you the very latest from them. So join me on the show today. Unfortunately, my co-host Tyler Stringfellow is out this week. He's actually competing in the Division I championships over in Ohio. So good luck to him over there. But I want to bring someone on the show today who has been, there for me day in and day out. You've seen him on this show many times before. So please welcome back to Down to the Wire and into the Koffler Center for, I believe, the first time on this program, Mr. Kyle Finn. Kyle, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, but this also isn't my first time. I've been in the other room with you before.
Well, you've been in the podcast room with me,
yeah,
but I don't think
first time in here.
Yeah, I don't think you've been on my show in the live studio. So
first time.
So yeah, I'm trying to get back in the live studio, trying to do more live shows at my normal time. So obviously, for anyone who isn't aware of that, I try to do live shows in the Koffler Center, live on radio and live on Instagram for right now, 7 to 8 on Wednesdays and Fridays. If you want to listen to that live on the radio, you can tune into WJMF 88.7 HD2 Smithville, Providence, or you can tune in on the website stream at wjmfradio.com. So there's a ton of different ways you can listen to us there. Obviously, we're available on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, all that good stuff for the podcast version. And then if you want to watch the video version of this show, we have a YouTube channel as well. Go check that out. All the links are in our bio on our Instagram at down.to-the-wire. So make sure you guys go check that out. But Kyle, man, we have a ton of stuff to talk about tonight. We're kind of in that dead zone right now in sports where, the Super Bowl's ended, and usually we're waiting for MLB spring training or just the MLB regular season to start for a lot of people. And MLB's on a lockout right now. We don't know what the situation with them is going to be. So there's kind of a lot of back and forth as to what's going to get going. But there were some big events that did happen this weekend in sports. This weekend in sports. Obviously, we had the NBA All-Star game, which took place, and some things went better than others. I think the 3-point competition was pretty entertaining. We got to see Karl-Anthony Towns win, and I don't know, what were your thoughts on that competition? Did you like it in general?
I wish I had bet on Karl-Anthony Towns. I was not expecting a big man to win it. Yeah, that is for sure. I always forget how nasty of a 3-point shooter he is, but
I mean, listen, I was down on him too. I was like, there's no way Karl-Anthony Towns is going to do this. I get it. He's kind of just like the big man you're throwing in there. And I know he can shoot the 3-ball, but I was like, God damn, this man can shoot. Like it was surprising for me.
Yeah, he had 29 in his final round, I believe.
Something like that, something around that. Yeah. It was very impressive. It was awesome to watch, but unfortunately, the greatness that we got to see in the 3-point competition was sadly overshadowed by just the atrocity that was this year's NBA dunk competition. I mean, you just want to talk about a stinker. Like, this thing was terrible from start to finish, man. And I don't know about you, the dunk contest has just been dying over, I think, at least since 2016. You could make a case when Aaron Gordon won it for the second time that there was a chance that it was going to get revitalized. But man, this dunk contest has just been a complete dud. And like, this year just was the complete epitome of it. It was awful, man. I mean, we had freaking Obi Toppin of the Knicks, Jalen Green of the Rockets, Cole Anthony of the Magic, and then I didn't even know this dude from the Warriors, Juan Toscano Anderson. Like, have you ever heard of this guy?
No, I didn't.
I mean, just being honest with you,
I was kind of shocked that he even made it to the final. But then again, everyone was missing their dunks. You know, everyone was going to like the third last dunk you can in the dunk contest because you're only allowed 3. Yeah, the dunk contest, unfortunately, is dying.
It's not dying; it's dead. At least I think so.
They need to do something. I think they have some ideas that they just haven't unleashed yet. Hopefully, they do unleash them soon, because if nothing works out either next year or within 2 years, they got to scrap it because nobody's going to watch it, unfortunately.
No, I kind of agree with you. I think they are going to have to do something very drastic about it, because this was a complete mess. And you summed it up best of all, because you had these guys that were literally going until the final dunk to even attempt a somewhat decent dunk. And I realized that dunking is no easy skill. Like to be able to jump up in the air like that, I can't even do a basic 2-handed dunk. So what these guys do on a day in and day out basis is already impressive, but it just doesn't seem, it seems like they've kind of just jumped the shark. And I don't know, like what was the most memorable moment of this dunk competition? It was Cole Anthony going out in Tim's and trying to dunk. Like that's the most memorable moment of a dunk competition. I mean, you had Blake Griffin jumping over a freaking car back in the day. Like you had like some of these guys, completely pioneering things rather. I mean, there were so many great storylines that there used to be back in the day. Dwight Howard, taking over as Superman. You had Michael Jordan going from the free throw line. The amazing dunk competition, obviously, with Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine back in 2016. And now we're just stuck with this trash. And it just feels like it feels so wasted. And I mean, the number one thing that you need to see back in this competition, Kyle, is the stars. And it's so apparent because listen, like if these guys were excellent dunkers and they were experts of their craft, you could say, you know what, credit to the stars enough. Can they dunk? Sure. But these guys are masters at their craft. These guys aren't that. Jalen Green was an embarrassment out there for the Rockets. He was so embarrassing that he made Kareem Abdul-Jabbar leave after his second go of it. Kareem's threw up his hands and said, you know what, man, I'm done. I can't do this. This is embarrassing. And he just walked out the door. Like, how do you even have this stuff happen?
Well, here's the thing, though, with this. I know the stars deep down want to compete in the dunk contest because obviously they have before, Michael Jordan and all those great names you said before, but it's the risk of getting injured because most of these dunks that are, first of all, we didn't see a 50 dunk at all in this dunk contest.
Not one.
And you can only do so much as a human to pull off a 50 and make it original without going to the lengths of you breaking your neck and etc.
I agree.
So my problem is I wish they would have it be like a one-on-one situation and have it just be like, people getting postered and stuff, because that's what made the All-Star game fun, the actual All-Star game, because it was actual stars. They were doing alley-oops, doing crazy things. Some people got postered, and that's what made it interesting, at least for me. The dunk contest is anything but that. It just doesn't feel natural.
Yeah. I mean, but the format of the dunk contest really hasn't changed that much, but I do think it is the fact that you can only do so much. Like you can only reinvent the wheel so many times on a dunk. I mean, you see what Zach LaVine was able to do when he did, all those in between the legs, dunks. I mean, I remember when Aaron Gordon literally went underneath his own body and threw it in. And to me, I don't know how that didn't win the dunk contest outright. I think Zach LaVine should have just forfeited on the spot, because when I saw something like that, I was like, that isn't human. Like, that should not be possible. So, I mean, I get the fact that you can only do something unique so many different times. But then again, we see these guys on like House of Highlights or whatever the heck it is. And like, they're coming up with like these new dunks all the time. And like, you see what they do and it's unreal. And I get that that's basically their sport for them. For them, that's their version of perfecting a jump shot. For them, it's like, all right, I'm going to learn a new way to dunk the basketball today. And that's like what they do. But I feel like for guys at this craft that can jump so high and do all these amazing things, I feel like you got to at least be able to do something like that.
Well, here's the thing, though. The people, like the content creators, they're trying to find ways to get views and make money.
Absolutely.
So they have to do that. The players who compete in the dunk contest, they get a signed contract and money at the end of the day, regardless of how well they do or how bad they do. So that's the difference, though. Yeah. So I'd probably say that they would have to get some outside people, some of these content creators that are known for doing these flashy dunks, like who's the one? His name's Jordan Kellamong or something like that.
It rings a bell, but I'm not certain.
He has a few signature dunks in 2K though, but having him come on and do his thing and have him compete like a normal like basketball player, that's what it needs, because that's what we want as basketball players. You want to see flashy dunks in the dunk contest.
No, I agree with you. You do want that. That is what you want to see. But you made a good point of saying these guys kind of just have their contracts made. Like for a lot of these guys, there's no big incentive to go out and do the dunk contest. So I don't know. It's made me think like there are other competitions that we're kind of suffering from this very similar problem. One competition in general was the home run derby. I mean, just a couple of years ago, like you had just stars completely absent from it, and it was just kind of any kind of old Joe that, they could have like a 190 batting average, but as long as they had like 20 home runs, they were going to get thrown into this thing. But now the MLB came out and they basically said, all right, the winner of the home run derby is going to get $1 million. And then all of a sudden you get to see all these stars return to the home run derby. And they're like, hey, $1 million is on the line, I'm going out. I'm definitely going to compete for that. I mean, you got to see Pete Alonso do his thing again, got to see Vlad Jr., completely shatter records when he entered into it. And I think giving these guys an incentive to go out and compete is, something that would definitely get more stars back into the game. Because at the end of the day, Kyle, money talks. I mean, it does. So if you're able to say, hey, whatever the star is, you're going to get whatever treatment or something like really cool that you want. Maybe we'll get you a new car or something. I mean, for these guys, a lot of athletes are materialistic. So if you give them the right kind of materials, they're going to respond to that.
Well, that too. And they also don't want to get embarrassed on national TV because the dunk contest has its own limelight. So if you do a dunk and you get embarrassed, like you completely fall flat on your face, etc., you're going to be the next meme on the internet. That's also I think another reason why these guys don't want to go that crazy though, because if they fail, one's going to stand out from all the others though. But if as a whole collect fail, no one can really get turned into a meme. It's going to be like, oh, that one dunk contest in 2022.
I mean, nobody remembers that. I don't know about you. Like, this thing is kind of becoming a meme in and of itself. Like, I mean, have you seen like the stuff about Shaq going around where, it was him back in 2000 with the video camera and he's like so hyped. And at this one, he's like half asleep, basically half dead.
Well, I mean, basically one person like becoming a meme.
Oh, so you mean like being clowned?
Like a certain basketball player, like one of those four, one of them only becoming a meme though, but all of them did bad. So you can't really make fun of it. It was just a horrible event all around.
Yeah.
So
no, I kind of agree with you there. There is kind of a give and take with that. The only thing I would say is I do think that you can keep the dunk contest in basketball. I don't want to see it go away because we've seen what they did the last time it went away. And I don't think that would be the best situation for them. So for anyone who doesn't know what happened was back in 1998, they actually just scrapped the dunk competition because in 97, I think they had like Kobe during his rookie year. They had a bunch of guys in it and it just like this one, it just completely fell flat. But back then, though, they had stars. So that there was kind of a difference. Like they had stars, but it just wasn't getting that.
Kobe wasn't a star at the time when he performed. He was just a rookie.
Fair enough. Yeah. So, I mean, it had some potential like big name guys, but it was also kind of suffering from the same problem. So in 1998, they do away with it and they bring in this thing called two ball. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before. I had never heard about it until I had known that they canceled the dunk contest, but I was like, oh, what did they put in its place? And they put in this thing called two ball, which I had never heard of before. And basically it's like a shooting competition where they put down like different like numbered like zones on like a court, kind of like in the big three where they have like the ruffles, like 4-point circles.
Oh, well, isn't that what they literally did this all-star for the competition? I remember I saw some videos from this one where they were taking shots.
Yeah, so they were doing like half court stuff, and it was a similar kind of thing. This was more inside the 3-point line where they were doing this from. So yeah, it was more like mid-range kind of game. There was some 3-point shots, but it was more mid-range stuff. And what they did is they took an NBA player and a WNBA player from the same city, and they had them compete in like a shooting drill where they would go back and forth, and they would pass from one person, they'd take a shot, and then they go to the other person, then they would take a shot. And it was supposed to be like, oh, whoever gets the most like points at the end, like in this competition, like your city wins.
Do you know what's actually the most shocking thing that you just said out of all of that? I didn't even know the WNBA was around at that time.
Yeah, in the 90s.
Yeah.
Nah, I think I think they're like 25 years old.
Really?
Yeah. It might have been like during their first years of existence, like literally, I mean, 25 to 2022. It might have been like literally like their first or second year in like affiliated with the NBA. Like it may have literally been that early. And I was watching and like they had Kevin Harlan like narrating. And I mean, he did his best to make it interesting. He ended up saying, next we got the 2-ball competition with John Stockton and like whoever, like the heck, like I think it was like Jeff Hornacek. And then it was like some other person that they had it with. And I mean, I'll give credit to Harlan. He did his best. I mean, he had his classic call of it, but at the end of the day, like a lot, like even these players ended up saying this is a joke. Like I think it was like Jeff Hornacek, and he ended up saying, "Oh, what? I hit 7 straight 7-pointers. Like go to hell. Like I'm done with this. Like it eventually just became really foolish, and it went by the wayside." And then I think they kept it till 2000 when they actually brought the dunk contest back, famously when Vince Carter went on to win it. And, he completely brought the game back. And, everyone thought like the game was going to take off from there. And it did for a little bit. You got Dwight Howard in his prime competing in it. You got a lot of big stars competing in it. And then for a lot of people, they think once Blake Griffin jumped over that Kia, that kind of sealed the deal in the dunk competition. It was like, all right, we don't know if we can really go further. We don't really know if we can go up from here. So that was kind of the end of it there.
Well, that's the thing, though. I haven't really seen any props used in these. That's the reason why I loved watching
the number one prop that was used was Tim's again, like by Cole Anthony. That was the number one prop used, and I know people are going to say, oh, it's because of Brooklyn, it's because of this, it's because of New York, and great, cool. But at the same time, you're jumping in construction shoes. No one cares outside of Brooklyn. No one cares. I mean, listen, I wear Tim's when it snows outside, so I don't care that you're dunking in them. Is it cool that you can dunk in them?
I'm wearing Tim's right now.
Yeah. Is it cool that you can dunk in Tim's? Yeah, sure. It's cool that you can dunk in Tim's. But when people are saying, oh, that's the same as Blake Griffin jumping over a Kia and that kind of a prop, I'm like, no, there's no equivalent in that kind of a prop. I'm sorry.
I got to be honest. I think the NBA All-Star is like one of the worst ones out of it's NBA and it's weird. The two most popular leagues in America have the two worst All-Star games.
Terrible.
And NFL Pro Bowl, horrible. Nobody watched. It's basically a two-hand touch game.
It is.
And then you have, the actual All-Star game is fine. Yeah. I'm glad they reconstructed that though, but everything leading up to it is so boring.
It is. It really is it really is boring. I mean, it's not entertaining anymore. And again, you can do football at half speed. You can do basketball at like half speed and kind of play it and kind of have a hands-off approach. But Josh Donaldson, obviously, won an MVP back in like 2015. He actually had a really great take on it. And he ended up saying that he believes baseball's all-star game is the best that you can get. And I have to agree, because he ended up saying, he said, obviously you can play football at like half speed. You can play basketball at half speed. You can't play baseball at half speed when you have 100-mile-an-hour fastball coming down the middle from Shohei Ohtani at you. You can't do that halfway.
I was looking up the ratings for it for the All-Star game. The actual game got 6.3 million people. Okay. But the thing though is this was across two networks though, which is honestly kind of sad that it only got 6 million. But I mean, it's up from 6% last year. But the thing though is last year's was the worst viewed all time.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was also just because it was in Atlanta and it was like that complete like COVID shutdown game. It was a complete like it just like optically it looked terrible.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the ratings for the Saturday night game.
Yeah. I mean I don't know how hockey's all-star game is. Like, do they like, from what I've heard, they do like a series, like they have all like the different leagues play against each other. And then it's like a tournament style thing. From what I've heard, hockey has like an interesting all-star tournament, but it just isn't watched as much.
Yeah. It's really sad though. I think it's one of the better ones. So basically they have the 4 divisions.
Yeah.
They play 20-minute game. You'd be like Pacific versus Atlantic. And then the 2 others though, they play 20 minutes. And then basically the winners of the first 2 games play in the championship game. And then, whoever can score the most in 20 minutes gets the $1 million prize.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I can't find it. I don't know.
Don't worry about it. So obviously
I just know the ratings were not probably that good.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, I didn't mind. I actually didn't watch the game itself, but from what I saw, it seemed pretty entertaining. Ja Morant was kind of just jumping out of the arena, so that was obviously cool to watch. But then, just the dunk contest in general. Are there any other final things that you could say as to how to improve it? Like, is there really anything else outside of just putting an incentive on it?
Ooh, for the dunk contest. Honestly, maybe taking another break wouldn't be the worst thing, because they've gone 22 straight years of having it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think everyone right now is just having a collective mental block of creativity. And I think maybe that, maybe 2-year break may be a good way to, come up with some new ideas, maybe think of another way to, especially because the grading system is a big problem.
Yeah.
Because the contest can keep continuing if everyone gets a 50 or gets the same grade. Mm-hmm. It's just going to keep continuing. Yeah. So they need to figure that out, because the contest can go on endlessly if they want to do that. Then obviously not though, but like it's got to end at some point.
I agree.
And they just need to bring the stars back. Like they can't keep having these like nobodies. Well, they're not really nobodies if you're like
an NBA diehard, but for the casual fan, if I'm turning it on and I hear about Juan Toscano Anderson,
you're not going to know who that is.
I just had to read his name again because I forgot about it in the span of the time.
Nobody truly knows Cole Anthony unless you're an Orlando Magic fan. But then again, if you watch Orlando Magic regularly, what's the matter with you?
You're kind of a psychopath.
Yeah, Obi Toppin was really the only person I knew, and that's only because he competed in last year's dunk contest.
And for me, it's only because he has like a very unique name. Like,
he was actually the only reason why I truly do know him is because he was top 10 in the country when he was in college and when he was at Dayton.
Yeah.
Outside of that, if he didn't have any of those accolades,
if his name was,
there would have been nobody in.
If his name was John Simmons, I would be completely lost. I would have no idea who the heck.
I would have thought that was Ben Simmons' long lost cousin.
Exactly. I would have had no idea that this guy competed in and even won the dunk competition. It's a joke. The only thing I can say, just possibly to get more people interested in the dunk competition would be to move it. I would say to put it before the 3-point competition, because if you put it before the 3-point competition, you're going to get more ratings for the 3-point competition, because the way ratings work, at least in TV,
you want to have the biggest thing be at the end.
Yeah. The way ratings work is the closer something is to midnight, the higher the rating will be. Yeah. If it's, something that a lot of people are interested in. So if you put the dunk competition first, maybe you get some stragglers that are interested in the 3-point competition, at least in to watch it. Maybe you can build up more rapport, and then you have the 3-point competition as like the big, as the big final thing of the skills competition. And then, maybe by doing that, you can try to build up the dunk competition from there. I think that the 3-point competition has overtaken it, obviously, and is now the big event. So I would say put it last and have the dunk contest be in anticipation of the 3-point competition. I would say that's what you have to do 100%.
Well, especially because now 3-pointers are now the new trend in the
exactly.
NBA. Now everyone's trying to do threes. Like, I mean, who expected like Karl Anthony Towns? He's known for being a center. If you got centers when it's like, that's pretty impressive. Like, people want to watch that. They want to see, people who can't shoot threes, make threes. My biggest thing that they can do to make the 3-point contest interesting is have a guy stand in front or like wait, because they're basically just taking wide open threes, and that's not usually what happens in the NBA. I want to see what it's like to see when these guys actually have someone in front of them guarding them, because it makes it look realistic. That's what we're used to seeing. Then that truly will see who's the truly the best 3-point shot.
That's an interesting idea, but I like keeping it the way it is, because I mean, you could have a guy come up in a completely different weight, and it could he could go up with one arm on one guy, a different arm on another guy. I think the human element there, just because it could really just impact the competition itself, and there could be a lot more discrepancy. I think for having these guys, there is an art to being able to nail like 20 plus 3-pointers in a row like that. There's an art to that. So I think keeping that the way it is, it would be my recommendation, but I think you at least need to see some sort of changes to the dunk competition. Something else you need to see a change to as well was that halftime performance with DJ Khaled. What the hell was that with him?
I was actually just going to bring that up.
What the hell was that?
I don't know why they keep inviting him back, because this is what he does. He comes out and he says, "We the best music," and then brings the other artists out, and then just dances around with his flab, just swinging around everywhere.
I mean, I don't get it. So, I mean, he comes out and he acts like everyone like doubts him. And I don't get that, because I'm like, man, you're like a millionaire successful producer. Like, no one doubts you anymore. Like, he literally went out and ended up saying, "They never said I'd perform at the All-Star game halftime show." And I'm like, nah, man, no one actually ever said that. No one has ever said that.
But he doesn't actually sing or do anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why he's even there in general. Like, it's great that he makes the beats and everything. He's a great beat maker. He's great. He's very good.
Amazing beat maker.
But I just don't understand why he's there. Like, he doesn't have a singing role or anything. Realistically makes more sense for him not to be there.
Yeah, I don't get it. And I mean, listen, if I'm fine with him even going on stage and introducing guys and kind of being like a circus performer and being like, and next up we have Lil Baby, next up we got Lil Wayne and all these guys, and being that guy. But he was like singing and basically just kind of, he was like talking during the middle of like these guys' performance. And I'm like, hey man, really appreciate making his beats, but I'd like to hear this guy talk rather than hear Lil Baby, rap a couple bars and have DJ Khaled go in and, to chime in and be like, what? Hey, yeah, I agree. Like, I don't want that.
It seems very forced when he does it.
Oh yeah. Like there's like some MCs are able to throw ad libs out there and it sounds fairly natural. The Migos, for example, are a good example who we actually had at this performance. So I don't know. Listen, they can throw an ad lib out there and it sounds fine.
One thing I do have to say before, I don't know when you want to switch the topics,
yeah.
But whenever Machine Gun Kelly's music dies, which I expect to be pretty soon, he did a damn good job being a PA announcer, introducing the players.
Yeah,
he actually has a very good voice at that.
I agree.
So honestly, I hope his music career ends soon, because he makes garbage music. And he should be like, maybe the Boston Celtics, PA announcer when he's introducing the starting lineups, when he says, oh, 3-pointer by, whoever, Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
He's got a voice, but just not for music. His music is very bad.
I don't mind his music, so you can go to hell with that comment.
But
It's bad. I think his song "Emo Girl" was trash. But let's just like get on to like the next topic. Obviously, we spent a lot of time talking about the dunk competition. It was something I did want to talk on because of just how atrocious it was. Something else that I find atrocious, but unfortunately, I do kind of agree with it. Recently, over the weekend, it was announced that Russell Westbrook has a new 2K rating. And he is now rated at a 79 overall. This man was the MVP of the league, like what, 5 years ago? Like
not
5 years ago or so? Like 2016, 17?
I thought it was 2017, 18, but it was around that time. Yeah.
So he was the MVP. It was
time.
Whenever Durant left. So I think Durant left in 2016, 17. Russell Westbrook went out and won the MVP literally that next season. Yeah. He averaged a triple-double for multiple seasons when he was in the league during that stretch. And literally, I think that he was put in good situations to average those numbers. But I mean, this man was an offensive scoring machine. Now he's on the Lakers, and the man can't even crack the 80s in 2K. And for people that don't play the 2K video games, people are gonna be like, all right, what's the big deal? What does it matter if he's an 80, if he's a 79 versus like an 80 or 81? Do you play 2K?
Yeah, I love that game.
Yeah. So do you at least understand why there is a big difference between being in the 70s versus the 80s? Like there's a huge discrepancy there, at least for me.
Well, the thing though is when he started out the season and when 2K dropped, he was at an 86 overall.
Yeah.
And he's down to 79.
And for me, even if he was to drop to an 81, it's like, okay, there's some respectability in that. For the people that don't play 2K, dropping into the 70s, it's like the land of mediocrity. Once you're there, you can start as like a rookie in the 70s and build yourself up into the 80s and 90s and become at that level. But if you fall from superstar status into the 70s, that's like falling into the abyss, man. And like, it's really tough to come out of that, especially a guy like Russell Westbrook. But at the same time, it's not like it wasn't deserved. I mean, at one point this year, man, the dude was averaging 50% shooting on his dunks. How do you do that? How do you average 50% dunking it?
I was never really a big fan of him, to be honest. I mean, he's just a selfish player. He like doesn't want to help anyone. He just cares about his own stats.
Yeah,
you gotta be a team player, man.
No, I mean,
it's not called, the Los Angeles Russell Westbrooks.
Yeah,
you're lucky even LeBron considered you to be on the team. Now LeBron wants to kick you to the road. They want to kick you out of the car.
100%. They want him gone. I mean, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I don't blame LeBron for this.
No, I do blame LeBron.
No. Well, I'm saying for having this opinion of Westbrook, because typically I'll blame LeBron for everything. I'll blame him for bringing a guy like him in, but for saying that he wants him gone, I don't blame him for wanting him gone. I don't.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, he is bad though. But here's the thing though, LeBron took him. He signed. He's like, oh yeah, you can't. This is basically how I thought of this situation. This is Westbrook. Hey, I need a job, LeBron. Can you please, move some things around so I can be on the Lakers? Sure. Just make sure you do this, and this. He hasn't done any of that.
No.
So LeBron should be the one at blame because he's the one that said, yes, we'll move some things around so you can be on this team. I love having you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just.
LeBron has drafted he's like us when we play fantasy.
Yeah.
He literally has drafted his own team and failed.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, the Lakers, I think, are the 9th seed right now. They're currently out of the playoff picture.
Technically they're in the play-in tournament. It's up to the 10 seed.
All right, I thought the play-in was only at the 8 seed. So
no, it's 10.
Okay.
But it's basically 7 versus 8, 9 versus 10. That's also another thing. I think the play-in tournament is really dumb how it's constructed. But it's 7 versus 8, 9 versus 10. It's the loser versus the 7 and 8 versus the winner of the 9 and 10, and that battles out for the 8.
Interesting.
And the winner of the 7-8 team gets the 7.
Anything to extend the playoffs, man. Anything to extend the playoffs. That's crazy how that works. But yeah. I don't know. I don't know if Russell Westbrook will ever be able to get back to that ability. I think if it is, it's not going to be with the Lakers. I think that for both him and LA, he's going to need to get the hell out of there.
I agree. So too. The only problem is I don't know who's going to pick him up.
Yeah, he's gonna have to do something similar to when he went to the Wizards and was on that team and basically kind of had to rebuild his value. He's gonna have to go to another small market like that and probably have to rebuild his value there and then see if another big contender is willing to take him on. That's what I think he's gonna have to do.
It was also funny though because like he also had Bradley Beal, and I think Bradley Beal is a pretty decent player.
Yeah,
I enjoy watching his game though, but he was still selfish with on that team. He didn't help Bradley Beal out once.
No.
He was leaving him out to dry.
No,
I can't even believe they made the playoffs that year.
I can't either. And I think it's ridiculous. But
now the thing though is, do you remember when they were at the 76ers versus Wizards game and Westbrook got injured and he was leaving the floor and some fan threw popcorn on him?
Yes,
I thought that was pretty funny because that just kind of describes it because he's just trash.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of just he's fallen off a cliff. I mean, people like to talk about Tom Brady falling off a cliff. Obviously, the famous Max Kellerman line. Russell Westbrook has fallen off the mountain. Like what? Like I have no idea. Like it's so sad. And I mean, listen, you don't have to exactly like the player, but just to see a guy of his caliber just like fall into mediocrity like this, it just. I don't think I'm getting old or something here, right? I mean, like I don't know. I like
you might be. He has been in the league for quite a while.
I mean, I guess
2000. What was he in the league? 2008 was his first.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 15 years, almost 15 years.
I mean, I guess so.
That's usually like on average, like for someone at his level, because you also have to understand he was going full, like he was draining his energy.
Oh yeah.
Like when he was trying to get those 3 straight years triple doubles averaging, like he drained a lot of his energy.
Yeah.
So I think he already used up all of his, I guess you could say, quote unquote superpowers. So I think honestly, I think maybe he has like 1 or 2 more years, but after that, you got to hang it up. You're being a cancer to your own team. You're hurting your own stats by trying to say you're helping yourself out, and you're hurting your. I don't know if he has a chance of getting into the Hall of Fame though. But every year,
basketball Hall of Fame is actually fairly.
But the thing though is he's done things like, especially as a point guard, that like we've never seen before. 3 straight years, it's like averaging a triple double.
Yeah,
and especially in this league.
The other thing too, Kyle, it's the weird kind of difference with it is it's the basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA.
Yeah,
Hall of Fame. So that's the one thing where it's the NFL Football Hall of Fame, the MLB Hall of Fame, the NHL Hall of Fame. With this basketball, there's a much bigger scope, and they look at a lot more than just your NBA achievements. I don't know what his USA achievements are if he played for Team USA, but they're
I think he has.
Yeah,
I think he's gotten a gold every time he's been
so they'll factor in the gold medals, they'll factor in all the different things and accolades he's won. So he'll get into the Hall of Fame.
But those, I don't know. To me, that's the one thing I don't like. Those I don't like that they consider adding gold medals to like his resume. I mean, granted, he did win them though, but look at the team he was on though.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was averaging like what 5 points. That's like more of a participation trophy. Like, yeah, you showed up, you played your like 5 minutes, and you got your layups though. But like, when 2012, like Kobe was stealing the show on LeBron, 2016, KD, and
here's the thing. There's obviously there's the gold medals that come to it. There's the FIBA World Cup that they play, and like Kyle, they factor this stuff in.
They really should.
They do. They'll
factor do anything.
They'll factor in like a red versus blue scrimmage if it helps their stats. They will do anything. They'll factor in like Rucker Park League stats if it helps. Like they will do anything if it means making a valid credential for the Hall of Fame.
Hey, if they're considering that, they've left some people out of that list.
God, Sham God.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, listen, I'm just gonna say God, Sham God, Hall of Fame. I'm saying it right here. But
maybe he got inducted into that Hall of Fame. I don't know if they do have a Hall of Fame. I think they should, because there's been a lot of great people that have gone through that part.
It's ridiculous. But you talked about Russell Westbrook being selfish. Another
he is.
Yeah. Another player I want to talk about being selfish right now and kind of just not seeming like he's dedicated to his team whatsoever is Zion Williamson. He is. I have no idea what the hell is going on with this guy. And for me, it really sucks because, I mean, like you and me can both remember when Zion was coming up through the ranks and was, just dominating the internet in high school. He was stealing the show. And I remember seeing him maybe my like sophomore, junior year of high school. And I was like, who the heck is this guy? And everyone was like, it's Zion Williamson. And I had no idea who this guy was. And Then he kind of disappeared for a little bit because he had to go play high school. And then he went on to go play at Duke and had an insane rookie season there. For me personally,
well, up until he had his little shoe incident.
Yeah. So listen, he had some other funny moments at Duke too. Obviously, busting out of the shoe was a very comical moment to see. But I mean, he dominated at Duke. He was insane offensively, and I mean, even on the defensive end too. He had that amazing block. I remember at one point where he literally just jumped out of the gym. So at Duke, he was a freak. And for me personally, whenever I turn on the TV, if it's like late at night and I'm just like, oh, what's a game I could watch just to kind of go relive some stuff? I'll throw on that Zion versus Taco Fall game any day of the week, because I just remember how entertaining that game was. And did Zion really finish the game out? Kind of. But I don't know. Like it's still a game I'm entertained by. Zion Williamson at Duke was incredibly entertaining. Now he's with the Pelicans and he can't even stay on the court. Like I don't even know what's going on with this guy. I mean, apparently, Kyle, I think the last time I checked, he was weighing around 330 pounds. Like what? How? How do you go to weighing that much like so quickly? I understand that New Orleans has some outstanding food. I've been told this many different times that New Orleans has some incredible food.
They do have incredible food. I've been there before.
Really?
Very, very good food, yeah.
But man, is it enough to make you gain? Is it enough to make you weigh 330 pounds? You're not saying no.
Listen, I went to New Orleans for a few days, but I don't live there.
Yeah.
So different situation though. But this is turning into.
Would you say you put on a couple of lbs when you went to New Orleans?
I would say I put on a comfortable 5 pounds.
Okay.
But he reminds me a lot like Greg Oden or Kwame Brown.
Oh no, don't say that name.
But he is though. Think about it. Kwame Brown, he averaged what, like 19 points,
something like that.
Yeah. And this was like, his first 2 years. And then after that, this man's went downhill.
Oh yeah.
Do we not see a trend here?
Greg
Oden. I can't really use Greg Oden though, but like he had an injury. But
he had some unfortunate situations.
Yeah, but I mean, like we just never really. He just kind of fell off the map too.
But Kwame, I think, is a good example because I remember just MJ ripping into him during his first, like when he got started with the Wizards. Like MJ just completely, I think, destroyed his confidence, and then he went and just wasn't able to materialize as an NBA player later on down the road. I mean, I saw with him, he completely like went on Instagram, like I think like a year or maybe 6 months ago. And he just like started going at all the people that like clowned him over the years. And he ended up saying, you have no idea what I've been through. You have no idea what I've been through. And he tore these.
Wait, who?
Kwame Brown.
Really?
Yeah. He like ripped into guys. Like he went on like a tirade like 6 months ago on Instagram. It was very entertaining to watch.
Oh, now I understand where Kanye's getting all this from.
Yeah. It was,
he took notes out of Kwame Brown's book.
I think it was at least over the summer. It was very entertaining to watch when Kwame, he like started leveling guys. It was very entertaining to watch. But
I'm sorry it took him this long to start saying things. I figured he would have been saying things right from the jump.
You might be a little bit Irish, probably bottle some stuff up and then kind of just like all Irish people do, we let it all out at once. So I don't know. But something that was interesting to me is that apparently, obviously the Pelicans traded for CJ McCollum. Zion Williamson has yet to reach out to this man. I mean, it's not like CJ's like, just some average kind of, run of the mill guy that you're bringing in. It's not like you're bringing in like JJ Barea. Like it's not like you're bringing in.
Yeah,
like
McCollum's a pretty above average basketball player who can contribute to a lot to the Pelicans who need the help.
Yeah, CJ McCollum's is like a top 50 player in the NBA right now, at least. I mean, he's a very quality talent. And JJ Redick, who I know, who obviously also was a teammate of Zion, he went on First Take. And he completely leveled Zion for this. He ended up saying this shows a complete lack of initiative from him. And JJ, who played with Zion back during the 2020-21 season, he ended up saying, I've been in that locker room with him. And for me, he comes across as a detached teammate. And to me, that's big. Just to see JJ Redick go at him like this. And man, I don't know if you've seen this clip. JJ Redick was fired up when he was going at him. It was crazy.
Well, he's a very competitive player. I mean, he's one of the more, better 3-point shooters in the league.
Yeah. I mean, he's retired now, but
was. But it's just sad to see because like Zion, think about it, it's like, I remember like 3 years ago, like obviously when he was at Duke, Sports Center, ESPN, all anything related to ESPN, they wouldn't stop talking about this guy.
It was all positive.
Yeah,
it was all positive.
Now they're like, Zion, who's this?
Yeah,
who's this guy?
Yeah, no, I mean they've completely like turned on him and leveled this guy. And I mean, I'm not saying it ain't granted. I mean, for me, it's just like I don't understand how Zion can just keep doing this. And I understand that you're hurt right now, man. I understand that you're not able to be on the court, but I don't think he's with the team right now. I don't think he's actually, I know you have an injury, but be with the organization. Try to show that you still have interest in being here. I mean, listen, you're under contract till 2024, 2025, I think, even possibly with your contract. I know there's some like restricted free agent status and different things in there, but you're not going anywhere, at least I think, for the next 2 seasons. You might as well try to make something work. And I think that you need to do it because say he does just kind of turn into the next Ben Simmons and kind of just like lumps around and is kind of just a loaf.
Well, I mean, then you got to start taking money away from him.
Yeah, well, you got to start taking money away from him, and then
actually, that's what they should have been doing from the alt. Like, I don't know what.
I think right now
he's also still getting money from, I think, Nike, if I'm right, and he's got his sponsorship still. But here's the thing, though.
I don't know if you can take money away from him because you could technically still make the case that he has an injury. But for not showing up to the team, you could actually punish him for that.
Well, I mean, he's also just not even making a collective effort to want to play basketball again. Like,
yeah.
Not even like trying to like go to like rehab and like trying to like get yourself back up to where you have been to get yourself back on the floor. I mean, this man's
he's just expecting that. He's just expecting, oh, my foot will heal at some point. And I'm like, no, man, if you're actually at that reported 330 pounds, your foot's not going to be able to heal that well because you're putting a lot of weight on it. I mean, I've talked with friends who, one of my good friends, John Warren, he's not 330 pounds. He's actually in really good shape, but he's dealt with knee problems in football. And, I feel for him when he's gone through that. And he's told me, hey, when I was doing my rehab, I had to go drop some weight because it was putting a lot of pressure on my knee. And that's not good when I'm doing my rehab and I want to be in better shape. So he went out, he lost some weight and, it was great for him. For a guy like Zion, if you're weighing that much, and I get it, you're like 7 foot, like you have a lot more, space to spread out that mass, but that's not 300 something pounds. That doesn't look good on basically anybody. Like you need to do something about that.
I mean, if he continues down this path, he'll end up being on the TV show My 600-Pound Life at this point.
That's terrible. I mean,
well, he keeps eating though. Like he's not doing himself any favors.
I mean, I get it. And bro, they used to call Charles Barkley the round mound of rebound. I mean, what are they going to call Zion? Like, I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
It's unreal, man. But I mean, just from seeing how JJ Redick went at him, I mean, he ended like JJ ended up saying, I was never the best player on any of the teams I was on. But when it came to a guy like Ersan Ilyasova, I reached out to him and was trying to get guys to join the team during buyout markets and different things like that. And I think from what I am pretty sure, JJ ended up saying, listen, if it was a guy like that, I'm not saying you need to like give him the world, but having your team get CJ McCollum is a big deal. Like they envision him and you being a big piece of this. So the fact that he wasn't even willing to reach out, it's so disheartening.
What a great run Zion has had, though.
Yeah, it was a great run, but I'm hoping that it's not similar to a Kwame Brown or to something where it just doesn't turn into anything in the NBA. I want him to be a star. I want to see the Zion Williamson we saw at Duke take over the NBA. Personally, I want to see that.
I'd rather have John Morant because John Morant was so slept on. And here's the thing.
I don't mind John Morant, but I want to see, I'm not saying I want Zion to overtake John Morant, but I want to see Zion be successful because me seeing what he was at Duke, being able to witness what he was there, that was awesome to see. And I want to see him at that level again.
I don't think we're ever going to see it again. Zion got his 15 minutes of fame in college. Now John Morant's getting his limelight in NBA. I call that swift justice. It's true. John Morant really wasn't really talk. Do you remember him being on ESPN talked about? Maybe when it got to tournament time.
It was in tournament time. He got some talk,
but he barely got talked about. Now John Morant's you guess to say could be the face of that class, that draft class, and he rightfully deserves it.
Yeah,
he's worked hard, he's put in the hard work, while Zion has got pushed around his entire life. He's gotten carried.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Greg Oden, and it's similar to when he got drafted, and then Kevin Durant went right after.
Yeah. Everyone remembers Kevin Durant, and barely anyone remembers Greg Oden. And Greg Oden is like everyone's like, 15-year memory that nobody forgets. It's like a TV show that you forgot existed.
Yeah, it's like when you get a random snap memory and you end up saying, "Wait, who the heck is that guy?"
Yeah, exactly.
It's like what's going on? Like 5 years ago, and like it's a random selfie you took, and it's just like, who is that?
Yeah.
Like I don't even remember taking this photo. So like it's kind of like that. But man, I want to see Zion get back to that level, but I do agree with you. It is the ability for him to do that is fleeting. It is kind of starting to get further and further away.
It's John Morant time.
Yeah. Well, even if it is John Morant time, I think it is now time to transition from NBA news to NFL news. One thing I want to talk about there, and specifically with you, obviously, Kyle, you're wearing a Super Bowl champions shirt right now. So I want to talk some Pats with you. And unfortunately, this isn't some Pats news that I'm really excited to talk about. It's something that I think is fairly concerning. Obviously, Patriots, I think had a pretty good season after the atrocious 2020 season we had with Cam Newton at the helm. Mac Jones was at least able to make us look watchable, was able to take us to the playoffs, and at one point had us as the number 1 seed in the AFC. So
we should have been the number 1 seed. The difference of that Buccaneers game and that first game of the season, the Dolphins game, literally those 2 games, if we had won those, we would have had the number 1 seed.
Yeah. So a lot. I mean,
it's crazy.
The AFC this year, man, was just wild. So like
who would have thought the Bengals were going to the Super Bowl?
Exactly. like the AFC this year, man, was a complete like cluster. You know what? So like we have no idea how something like that comes about. But looking at the Pats now moving forward, they just lost a lot on the coaching staff side of it. Josh McDaniels, who we famously kind of turned around on the Indianapolis Colts and then, came back with the New England Patriots to be our OC for, a couple more years.
Imagine he does the same in a few weeks with the Raiders. Be like, yeah, man. So
I would
can't. I don't feel like doing this anymore because everyone keeps getting arrested. So I'm gonna go back to the Patriots where everything's normal.
Man, that would be the dream scenario. Listen, that's not happening though. So the Pats, unfortunately, are stuck having to fill the role of Josh McDaniels and all the people that he took to Oakland with him, because he took Ziegler with him, took a lot of other guys to Oakland, and now the Pats are trying to kind of scramble and figure out what they're going to do on the offensive side of the ball. One guy's name who I've obviously heard about bringing back is Bill O'Brien, but there are reports that the Pats haven't even so much as talked to him. Another guy, which this one scared me, but people are trying to really talk it up now, was Adam Gase, formerly of the Dolphins and Jets, which I don't want to see bug eyes on the sidelines for the Patriots. I don't
want to see Bill O'Brien or Adam Gase on a football field ever again. They need to be in the retirement home.
I don't want to see them on the football field either, Kyle. But these next options scare me enough that I'm willing to settle for either of them at this point. And it's the fact that, obviously the Pats are trying to make moves. And on the coaching side of the ball, we ended up bringing Joe Judge back, who was formerly our special teams coach. And, completely just flamed out with the Giants this past season, was, kind of made news for running a QB sneak on his own 9-yard line when it was a 3rd and 7.
Wasn't even the 9-yard line. It was like the 2-yard line.
Yeah, it was embarrassing. I mean, that's stopped the news world for a split second. People end up saying, did Joe Judge really just do that? Like, what the heck actually was that? And had enough people wondering, why would you ever do that as coach? And people thought that he should have been fired on the spot right there. And I think subsequently he was. I think that probably was the deciding factor. If there wasn't already a nail in the coffin, that was the final blow.
Well, here's the thing, though. When you're given either having Daniel Jones or Mike Glennon or Jacob Fromm as your quarterbacks, what realistically can you do in that situation? You have signed statistically the least winning quarterbacks in all of football.
I don't know.
I don't really know what else he is supposed to do.
I don't know. Some sort of run play, at least make it look like that. At least make it look like a football play. If the running back gets stuff there, fine. But you could have at least just thrown something out there. No, but so Joe Judge obviously gets fired. I thought, where I thought he should have gone? I thought he should have gone to the Green Bay Packers to be their special teams coach. No, honestly, because you saw how the Green Bay Packers fell apart in that divisional game on special teams against the 49ers. That was disgusting how they fell apart. I thought, and
I loved every second of it. I'm not a fan of the Green Bay Packers.
No, me neither. My friend Pat Edwards is though. So he's a big Packers fan, but I said to him, I was like, hey, it might not be a bad idea if you guys were to pick up Joe Judge. And I said, listen, terrible with the Giants. I don't think he's a good head coach, but special teams, when he was with the Patriots, our special teams was pretty immaculate. Like, we really didn't have any blocked punts. We didn't have a ton of issues on special teams when Joe Judge was kind of running the ship over here. There were a couple mess ups here and there, but for the most part, we had a pretty solid and sound special teams, and it was something that the Patriots team of the second dynasty kind of founded themselves on. So, my friend even agreed with me. He ended up saying, I would take Joe Judge to run our special teams. I would do it. But the Patriots ended up reaching back out to him. We're bringing him on now to the offensive side of the ball, and apparently he's going to be now working with Mac Jones. That terrifies me after seeing what happened in New York. I don't know how it can't terrify any other Patriots fan. When seeing the way that ship went down in New York, and just seeing the way Daniel Jones regressed, I didn't think I could see Mike Glennon regress, but somehow that was possible. And then seeing Jake Fromm, who had a pretty solid career at Georgia, seeing him just gonna be a complete nightmare on the field. Like, you can talk about them not being the great talent wise, but somehow Joe Judge was able to take that and make it worse. I don't understand how that was possible. But again, I think he's a special teams guru. I think that he was great on that side of the ball. But then having him work with Mac Jones in his second year in the league, this is when Mac Jones is supposed to make that jump.
This is the most important year.
Absolutely. So bringing in Joe Judge, the guy who QB snuck it on 3rd and 7 with his back against the goal line, that terrifies me, Kyle.
It's interesting though, because I think it could potentially work out.
How?
But well, here's the thing though. Mac Jones isn't dumb.
No, I know that.
He's a smart guy. You don't win the Heisman Trophy by accident, he's very smart with his passes. He's a very accurate passer. I think maybe this might be what Joe Judge needs. And who knows, if he happens to do really good, I don't know. Do we sign him long term? Do we does he get a head coach position or offensive coordinator position? Because here's the thing though. I found it odd that they fired Jason Garrett, but not also Joe Judge.
I think for them, the reason they fired Garrett is that it might have been easier to just like replace a coordinator position midseason rather than have to do a full head coach thing, especially with a big organization like the Giants. I think that for them, it was like, all right, like let's try to hold this thing off. I know the Raiders fired Madden, but there were some other implications why they had to terminate him midseason. So I think for a lot of teams, getting rid of a guy midseason is kind of a challenge. When you do it, it's usually under very serious circumstances. Urban Meyer's another one, obviously. So I think when a guy gets fired midseason, something has to go drastically wrong.
But the thing though is, at least if Judge would have got fired, I would have been happy with Garrett being a head coach, because he's actually led a team to a winning season.
Yeah.
He could have at least put something together, pull out the old Dallas playbook that, he might have had stored at home and be like, you know what? I got this team to a 9-7 with a bunch of nobodies and losers. I think I can do the same with the Giants and at least get you to a respectable, 6-9. What even is it? 6-11.
Yeah.
7. I always forget that there's an extra game.
It's so weird.
6-11, 7-10. At least make it be somewhat respectable.
Yeah.
But no, let's get rid of the guy who's had a winning record. On a rival, he was doing something correct.
Yeah, exactly.
He did have a few pieces though, but he was doing something correct.
No, exactly. There's a lot of different things that they could have done, but they obviously went with this decision. And I mean, again, I'm nervous about them bringing back Joe Judge, but the other decision too that the Pats have gone with also terrifies me, and it's the fact that Matt Patricia, who again, you want to talk about coaches that flamed out once they left New England, Matt Patricia is a chef's kiss example of a coach that did that. Man went to Detroit, and listen, I get it. Detroit's a hellscape, Kyle. I'm not oblivious to that. Detroit is a hellscape.
Every year, the ownership and management there intentionally set up the coaches and players for failure.
No, I get that.
I don't understand why they like losing so much.
I don't.
Do they enjoy just not having a fan base? Like, do they enjoy losing millions of dollars every year?
I don't get it, man. I think they just see the way Detroit goes, and they ended up saying, well, Detroit's already in the toilet. We can't turn this thing around.
We'll make sure to make the clog really worse.
Yeah, might as well. I actually, the Lions ownership might be doing fans a service. They might be saying, listen, you don't want to come into Detroit, so we're going to put a product on the field that's going to keep you away. So I think Lions ownership is actually out there for fans' safety.
Yet the NFL will force us to watch the Thanksgiving game at noon every time. They need to get them off of Thanksgiving. I don't even care about traditions anymore. That's just an insult to football. That's
something I've said so many times. I don't know if you know Miles Crone here. He's he's a Lions fan, and he defends them playing on Thanksgiving to this day. And I'm like, why? And he ends up saying
they're an insult to
He ends
football.
up saying it's so good, Brian. It's so good. And I'm like, Miles,
What, you get your 2 seconds of fame every year?
he thinks they should play. He thinks they should play twice on Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Listen, it's already bad enough that it's bad enough that we got to deal with the Cowboys fans, and they're unbearable to deal with at least though. But hey, listen, we need some comedy on Thanksgiving. So it's also not the worst thing that the Lions, but I love watching great football on Thanksgiving because that's what football's known for.
Exactly.
We like to put the best product on the field.
No,
Lions are not good product. Get them off.
I do have to agree with you. So, and there is kind of an advantage to it. If you know it's going to be a bad football game, I actually eat Thanksgiving at lunchtime. I don't know. Do you eat it at dinner time?
We watch it when the Cowboys play.
Okay, so
because at least we know that's a good game we can all watch and talk about.
So do you eat during the Cowboys game?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, we eat probably during the Lions game. So obviously we're able to.
Yeah, that's way too early for me.
No. So yeah, we eat at like noon, like 1 o'clock-ish. So
that's way too early.
Yeah, no. So yeah, that's when we do it, and then. I don't know. For me, like when that food coma hits, it's just enough to where I can sleep through the Lions game and then wake up and actively enjoy the Cowboys game. So that's kind of the give and take that I do with that. But yeah,
we like to cook the food during the Lions so that way we don't have to watch the Lions. We give ourselves a nice excuse.
Fair enough. You do have your hands tied during that, so I can't excuse you for probably not watching that. Yeah. I am usually asleep during the Lions game, so that's where I am at that point in time. But obviously, with Matt Patricia, he came back to New England last season as a senior. What was the role? It was as a senior football advisor. So just another nameless position. So that way Bill Belichick could have him back in the building.
Just another person that doesn't deserve like $500,000.
Yeah. Just another yes man for Bill Belichick. So I don't know if Bill Belichick needs any more of those guys, but he got another one. And, obviously, I think Matt Patricia was fine as defensive coordinator here. Was able to help us win Super Bowl 49. Obviously, wearing the shirt for that Super Bowl championship, but I don't know. He was fine here. Obviously, he was called a rocket scientist when he was here, but I don't know. There's a chance now. Actually, not even a chance. He's going to be working on the offensive side of the football now, Kyle. This man went from defensive coordinator to offensive side of the football. And there are reports that he might even hold the offensive play sheet and make calls for them this year. When have you ever seen a guy go from defensive coordinator to offensive coordinator for an NFL franchise? You see that maybe in high school or college at the very least.
But not like a top tier college team.
Yeah, no, exactly. You might see it for.
Imagine seeing that at Alabama with Nick Saban. Oh my God, that would be interesting.
Yeah, you might see it at like St. Louis College of Western Missouri or something like that. You might see it at like some obscure like D3 school somewhere. But you're not seeing this happen at a top college level or even an NFL level. You're not seeing that with these guys. So that is also something very scary to me. I would rather have Bill Belichick, who is a very defensive-minded guy, call the plays for offense than Matt Patricia. I mean, at least at that point, you can say, all right, Bill Belichick is the greatest football mind of all time. Maybe he can pull something out. Maybe he can pull something out. Like, I don't know. That's how I would look at it. So I don't know. Seeing these two kind of clowns on the side of the football calling things to the Pats, it makes me nervous about Mac Jones and his development. Like, they could screw him up if they really have their way with him. And I know you said that Mac Jones is a smart kid, but he also does listen to authorities on, at least with the Patriots. He would talk with Bill Belichick all the time. Bill,
I would hope he would listen to Bill Belichick.
No. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have, but he at least, I mean, he also listened to Josh McDaniels too. And I think that Josh McDaniels is a good offensive coordinator. But I'm hoping
he can't make the decision by himself, though. Unfortunately,
no, I agree with him. But I'm hoping that doesn't set a precedent to where Joe Judge says, "Hey, man, do this," and all the alarms are signaling in Mac Jones's head is saying, "No, I'm going to get killed on this play, so I actually shouldn't do that." I'm hoping he at least has the mental fortitude to do something like that. Because if he doesn't, they could really screw him up.
Who knows? He might. If they put him in a real dangerous situation, I mean, it wouldn't be shocking if Mac Jones has an injury. It could be like another Joe Burrow type of situation where basically Joe Burrow has.
It doesn't even need to be an injury, though. It doesn't even need to be an injury. It could be a mental block of some sort.
Could be. I mean,
But,
listen, that's the reason why I'm a football fan. I don't make the decisions. I just go to the game or I put on my TV. I watch it. I'd be like, oh, wow, that game sucked. Or, wow, that game's really good. And then go about my day.
I mean, this harkens back to a rookie. And it's kind of ironic because this happened during the Hall of Fame game during Brady's rookie season. It was Patriots 49ers. And on the other side of the ball for the 49ers was a third round draft pick named Giovanni Carmazzi. He came from, where did he come from? He came from Hofstra. And they don't even
Long Island, New York.
Yeah, they don't even have a football program anymore. They
disbanded.
Yeah, they disbanded it. But for him, he went out there and just got completely rocked against the Patriots. And a lot of people thought that he just never was able to recover from something like that. So if the Pats put Mac Jones in a situation like that, I think that Mac Jones has a better fortitude than Giovanni Carmazzi. But if Mac Jones gets knocked around a bunch and has some doubt in his coaches, that could cause some problems down the line. And I think that could really screw with him.
Hey, listen, you always got the second best option, Brian Hoyer.
Oh, Jesus. that guy's a bona fide coach at this point. Listen, we saw what Brian Hoyer was able to do in that Chiefs game. And the fact that was an embarrassment. So you can credit Brian Hoyer for being a great football mind. I think he's a great one. Possibly might even be able to be a quarterback's coach or something, once he's done with football. I think he has a shot at something like that.
Listen, he is the greatest second stringer of all time. I mean, I don't know who else can really match up against him. That man warms the bench so well for the Patriots. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, he does a very good job. He does keep it very, very warm. So I don't know. There's a lot of things going on there, but I will say, if this is the offensive coaching staff we're rolling out with the Pats, we're screwed. We are screwed if this is it. And I really think that Mac Jones will be screwed up. I'm hoping not as screwed up as Giovanni Carmazzi, because I don't know if you know about him. If you ever watched the Brady 6 documentary, when that came out back in like 2011, that guy now is herding goats. So I'm hoping we don't get Mac Jones as screwed up as that guy. So here's to that.
Hey, listen, if that's what makes him happy, it's what makes him happy.
Exactly.
We all got to find our passions in life.
Exactly, Kyle. But unfortunately, Kyle, it is now 8:00 here at the Koffler Center. So we are unfortunately now down to the wire, which means we're going to do a little run through of what we talked about in this episode and send you guys on your way. Obviously, we started things off today by talking about the complete dud that was this year's NBA dunk competition. Completely just, it was just a non-factor this year. It starred Obi Toppin, who ended up winning the event, Jalen Green of the Rockets, Cole Anthony of the Magic, and Juan Toscano Anderson of the Warriors. Again, if you ask me that guy's name in 5 minutes, I will not remember it. You might as well.
I hope you don't remember it.
You might as well pull the trigger. If I had a gun to my head, I would just say, tell my family I love them, because I will not remember. Shoot. Juan Toscano Anderson. Okay, great. After that, we talked about DJ Khaled's very interesting halftime performance, to say the very least, as well as Russell Westbrook now being rated a 79 overall in 2K, and JJ Redick calling out Zion Williamson for not reaching out to CJ McCollum. Redick referred to him as a detached teammate, and we went back and forth as to whether Zion will ever be the kind of guy we saw at Duke. It doesn't seem like that will ever be the case again. But then finally, in football news, we talked about the Patriots' new look yet concerning offensive coaching staff that is drawing some concern from many fans. This was something that obviously came about last week, but was something I wanted to cover on this show. It's something that, I mean, listen, man, if this is what we're rolling out with the Pats, again, tell my family I love them. That's all I can say. But Kyle, obviously, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I really do appreciate it. But for any of you guys listening live, you've been listening to WJMF 88.7 HD2 Smithville, Providence, or you've been tuned in at WJMFradio.com. Thank you so much for watching the show. And from Down to the Wire, I'm Brian Costa.
I'm Kyle Finn.
And we hope you guys have a great day. Take care and peace out.